13-year-old boy is standing alone in a freezing forest, holding a bow that's almost bigger than he is. Somewhere above him, at the exact same moment, the President of the United States is sitting on a plane that's about to be blown out of the sky. Neither of them knows it yet, but in a few hours their lives are going to collide in the middle of nowhere, Finland. The boy's name is Oskari. He lives in a small hunting village where there's one rule that matters more than anything else. When a boy turns 13, he's sent into the forest alone for 1 full day and 1 full night, and he has to come back with a kill. That's it. That's how you become a man here. No exceptions, no shortcuts. Oskari's father, Tapio, is a legend in this village. The best hunter anyone's ever seen, the kind of man whose name alone earns respect before he even says a word. And everyone, including Oskari, is terrified that the son won't measure up to the father. Oskari heads into the woods with nothing but a bow, a knife, and a map his father gave him, marked with a secret red X, a spot where deer are supposed to be guaranteed. It's supposed to be his safety net, his father's one gift to help him succeed. But Oskari isn't exactly built like his dad. He's small, he's nervous, and the whole village saw him walk out that gate, knowing he might walk back in with nothing, knowing what that would mean for how they'd all look at him afterward. Meanwhile, thousands of feet above him, Air Force One is flying toward a summit in Helsinki, and the president is joking with his longtime bodyguard, Morris, about retirement, about mortality, about how close calls change the way you look at life. It's a light moment, almost carefree, which makes what's coming even harder to watch. Back on the ground, Oskari spots his first deer, lines up his shot, and freezes. He can't do it. His hands are shaking, his breathing is off, and every ounce of confidence he walked in with just disappears. Right as his confidence collapses, the sky above him lights up. A team of armed men on a nearby ridge fire a shoulder-mounted missile straight at Air Force One. It's not a random attack. It's precise, it's coordinated, and it's designed to look like the plane simply vanished, like there was never any warning at all. The plane goes down. The president is ejected in an emergency escape pod, and it lands somewhere in that same vast Finnish forest, not far from where a scared boy just failed to pull his bowstring back. Communication is completely lost. Back in Washington, the vice president and military leadership have nothing. No signal, no location, no idea if the president is alive or dead. All they know is that Air Force One is gone, and that somewhere out there in a foreign country in the middle of nowhere, their commander-in-chief might already be dead. So a scared 13-year-old boy and the most powerful man in the world are now stranded in the same forest, both hunted, both alone, both about to find out just how far they're willing to go to survive the next 24 hours. Stick around, because what happens next is where this story gets completely insane. Imagine finding the President of the United States, hiding behind a tree, dazed, confused, and completely unarmed. That's exactly what happens to Oskari next, and it changes everything instantly for both of them. President William Allen Moore, played by Samuel L. Jackson, is disoriented and injured after the crash. He's wandering the forest with no security, no phone that works, and no idea which direction leads to civilization, no idea if his own team is even still alive. Then he runs into Oskari, a boy holding a bow, who has absolutely no idea he's just found the most wanted man on the planet. At first, Oskari doesn't even believe him. He assumes it's a joke. Some lost tourist with a wild story, until the man shows him proof, and the reality of what's actually happening finally sinks in. The two of them form an unlikely partnership. Oskari knows the forest. He knows how to move quietly, how to read tracks, how to survive on almost nothing. The president, stripped of all his power, his guards, his title, has to actually listen to a 13-year-old, for the first time in years, maybe ever. Along the way, the president tells Oskari a story about the day he almost humiliated himself in front of the entire world, a moment of real vulnerability, one he's never shared with anyone else before. And he explains something that sticks with Oskari long after the words are said. Sometimes being powerful isn't about being strong, it's about looking strong when it counts the most. But they're not alone out here. A mercenary named Hazar, the illegitimate son of a wealthy oil sheikh, has been hunting the president, as if he's literal game, tracking him the exact same way you track an animal in these woods. Hazar isn't political, he doesn't care about ideology, he doesn't care about any cause at all, he just wants the ultimate trophy. The President of the United States, captured on camera, humiliated in front of the entire world, proof that no one is untouchable, not even him. And it turns out Hazar had help from the inside. Someone close to the president, someone the president trusted completely, helped orchestrate the entire missile strike, which means the danger was never just out here in the forest, it was already sitting right next to him the whole time. Oskari and the president managed to stay one step ahead, hiding in a lake beneath a sunken part of the crashed plane, catching their breath, believing for a moment that rescue might actually be close, that maybe the worst part is finally behind them. But the silence around them says otherwise. No helicopters, no radio chatter, just forest stretching out in every direction with no sign that anyone out there even knows where to look. If you think this is where things start looking up for them, you're about to be very wrong. Keep watching because the real danger hasn't even shown up yet. The man who was supposed to protect the president is the same man who sold him out. Enter the ranger, a local guide who Oskari trusted completely, who seemed to be helping them survive and reach safety, who acted every bit like the ally they desperately needed. Except the ranger has been working with Hazar the entire time, feeding information, buying time, playing a part with a level of patience that makes the betrayal sting even more once it's revealed. He was never trying to rescue anyone. He was tracking them, feeding their location straight to the mercenaries, one step ahead of Oskari and the president the entire time. The betrayal lands hard. Oskari, who's already carrying the weight of proving himself as a hunter, now has to process that an adult he trusted, someone he looked up to, was manipulating him from the very beginning. Hazar's men close in fast, and both Oskari and the president are captured together, dragged in front of the man who's been hunting them since the moment the plane went down. Hazar wastes no time. He wants this filmed. He wants the world to see the president caged like an animal, packaged as the ultimate proof that no one, not even the most protected man on earth, is untouchable. Just when it looks completely hopeless, Oskari does something nobody expects, not even the president. Using the exact hunting techniques his father taught him, the same skills he doubted himself on earlier that same day, he creates a distraction, using a deer call, pulling attention away just long enough for the president to break free from Hazar's men. But the escape doesn't hold for long. Hazar's men regroup fast, furious, and in the chaos, Oskari and the president get separated from each other, each of them now alone in enemy territory, with the net closing in from every direction and no way to signal for help. Not far away, Tapio realizes his son never came home and heads into the forest himself, with no idea what he's about to walk into, only knowing that something about tonight feels wrong. So now everyone is scattered. The boy, the president, the father, and the men hunting all of them, all converging on the same stretch of forest, all heading toward the exact same place without even knowing it. The final showdown is about to bring every single one of them face to face. Let's get into it. One boy, one bow, and one final chance to save the President of the United States. With the US military still nowhere in sight, and time running out fast. Separated and alone, Oskari has to make a choice. Run and save himself, get out of this forest and let the adults handle what's left. Or go back and finish what he started, knowing exactly how dangerous that decision could be. Meanwhile, back in Washington, military leadership is finally closing in, with satellite feeds picking up movement in the Finnish wilderness for the first time since the crash, giving them a location for the first time in hours. But out here, help is still minutes away, and minutes might not be enough. Hazar, confident that his plan is unstoppable, prepares to finish what he started with the president, certain that nothing left in this forest can actually stop him now. But he underestimates the one thing he can't control. A kid who has spent his entire life training for exactly this moment, without even realizing how ready he actually was. Oskari tracks them down using nothing but instinct, and everything his father ever taught him, every lesson, every failed attempt, every moment of self-doubt, turned into fuel, driving him straight back into danger for a man he barely knows. In a final, explosive confrontation, Hazar is taken down, and the traitorous ranger meets the consequences of his betrayal. US Navy SEALs finally arrive on the scene, spotting Oskari standing protectively near the president, bow still in hand, having done what an entire security detail and entire government couldn't manage to do. The image itself becomes iconic. A barefoot forest kid, guarding the most powerful man on earth, standing his ground until the very last second. Tapio finally reaches his son, and instead of disappointment, there's only pride, the kind of pride that no trophy or kill could ever earn on its own. Oskari didn't come back with a deer or a bear like tradition demanded. He came back having saved a president, having proven in the most extreme way possible that he's exactly the kind of man his father hoped he'd become, maybe even more than that. Back in Washington, the truth of the conspiracy unravels, exposing just how deep the betrayal went, all the way to the people meant to protect the president, and the nation is left to process just how close they came to losing everything. So here's the real question. Was Oskari's bravery pure instinct, or did his father's training make him ready for something even he didn't expect? Drop your answer in the comments below.